ahead and get started? Yeah, me too. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Donut DOC. My name is Steve Ryman, and I'm your host. And here beside me today is my dear friend Porter, who is also featured on our logo. You may have noticed before. So, why are we having this bonus episode? Well, number one, this bonus episode correlates to National Donut Day, which is always the first Friday of June. Now, I am recording this the day after the first Friday in June, but I think that's okay. Why is that okay? Because, quite frankly, National Donut Day, no, National Donut anything needs more than just a day. So I think that's one of the reasons why it was originally selected to be on a Friday so that it could carry over into the weekend. And that's exactly what we're doing. Right, buddy? Yeah. So, that being said, I put out a challenge a few weeks ago that I wanted to know and feature your donut stories. And I got to say, several of you really came through. I hope this is going to be the first of many of these types of episodes because, quite frankly, we are all connected by our own stories, and everybody's got a story to tell, especially when it comes to donuts. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. But I will say, please, by all means, like this episode. Please subscribe to the channel. Share this channel with a friend if you would. All right, let's start featuring my friends and fellow Donut DOCers and their stories. First up, Kevin Huntsberger. Kevin, take it away.
Hello there, Donut DOCers. My name is Kevin Huntsberger, and I am a longtime friend of our buddy here, Steve Ryman. These are back in our SEMO, Southeast Missouri State University days as part of Sigma Nu fraternity. I'm on the far end there. You see, I had a pretty good fashion sense back then, and I tried to put my donut bow tie on in honor of Steve, but was not able. I still need to learn, Steve, so hopefully he can help me with that. But I love donuts. I've loved donuts for a long time, 50 years, maybe a little more than that. But today, just because of a time crunch, I didn't get to go to any of the bakeries here in Southern Illinois where I live. We have our typical Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts, but there are also some closer to home, Dixie Cream and Davis Bakery specifically that make donuts as well. But on my way to work, I stopped because my favorite donut is a chocolate Long John, and I stopped at Huck's in Carterville, Illinois. It's on my way to work, and I picked up a chocolate Long John. Now, for me, and they actually bake these there at Huck's, the gas station chain. If you are not from, I'm not sure where they're all located, but this one here in Carterville, Illinois, makes them. And this is not a cream-filled one, so let's just break it open. Just a nice, fluffy inside there. Of course, the chocolate on top. It's got to be a chocolate Long John for me. Fresh made this morning. It's a great donut. I do not like anything inside it, though. It's got to be just the plain chocolate Long John. Now, I do like jelly-filled donuts, and I do like some of the novelty donuts that you would get at, for example, some of the more specialized donut places. And the one that I'm trying to think of is escaping me at the moment, but they have locations around the country. Evansville, Indiana is where we typically go to get those. And man, getting old sucks. I have completely blanked on the name of Parlor Donuts. It came to me. Yeah, I feel like an old man here. But happy Donut Day. Steve, keep doing a great job here at Donut DOC. Thank you for inviting others to participate. And have a sweet day.
Hey, Kevin, thank you so much for your contribution to this episode and for the encouragement. Greatly appreciate you. All right. Our next story comes from Gwen in Overland Park, Kansas. And I will admit it was this story that originally gave me the idea of dedicating a whole episode to your stories. So here we go. Gwen says, every college town has some great donut place. At K-State, which for those of you who may not know is in Manhattan, Kansas, there was one run by a guy named Swanson. He used the moniker Swanee. I can appreciate that. He was a master. His feature was a braided piece like you featured in your first podcast. He braided butter into the twists. They were ready after midnight, a warm delight like no other. I admit to my addiction to both Swanee and the fried delicacy called the Yum Yum. He hugged me on every visit. Like a dutiful investor in his business, I hugged him back. Swanee has been long gone and his store raised for a modern mall. his spirit soars above it. Thank you, Gwen, so much for sharing this with us. Now we'll feature our next segment from none other than Lainey Giovanni. You might remember Lainey in an original short episode that she did at Brewnuts in Cleveland, Ohio. Lainey, take it away.
Where do I begin with my love for donuts? I wish I had a Steve Ryman quality childhood story or someone fascinating to interview in my life who introduced me to donuts, but honestly, I credit me. I developed a love for them when I was young, and unlike some people, given myself permission to eat as many of them as I choose. And I think the thing I love best about donuts is they're universal. You can find something similar in almost every country, as evidenced by Steve's recent trips. And it's something that connects people. I have found through most of my work travels and even my own personal travels that one of my favorite things to do is to seek out donut shops all over the world, all over the nation, testing as many as I can, trying them all. And what's crazy is I often remember exactly which donut flavor I had from which vendor in which city and could wax poetic about it far longer than a 1-minute video would allow. So all I can say is this is one of my favorite days of the year. The best way to celebrate is with a donut of your own. And moving forward, every other day of the year, take some time and taste the donuts.
Lainey, thank you so much for sharing that, as well as thank you for your contributions, not only to the episode, but to the channel in general. You've been a great friend and a great supporter, so thank you for that. Now we move on to our next story, but before we do, no, Porter did not shrink. Porter did not morph into another dog. This is the Ryman family's second dog, Orla, and you can see she's got her own donut scarf. But jealousy is a very real thing between the two dogs, and she insisted on being a part of this. So here we go. Our next story comes from none other than my dear friend Chuck in Hartford, Connecticut. Now, I will tell you, you got to know some things about Chuck. Number one, life seems to find him in ways that is just absolutely remarkable. And you're going to tell by these stories here. These are prime examples. Chuck also grew up in Northern California, so just keep that in mind as I share this. Here we go. Chuck first says, and there's a couple of excerpts here. We got donuts from our favorite place in Northern California as a child, and we're driving to a soccer game. We got stopped by police blockades and barriers. Patty Hearst and the Symbionese Liberation Army robbed our local bank. We ate donuts for 30 minutes with SWAT all over. That's one story. The next is same donut shop has many 1970s Oakland Raiders stories. They all lived in our town. John Madden's wife was my teacher. I know his donut order. Always saw him there on a Saturday. And then finally, less to do with donuts, but still worth sharing since it's coming from Chuck. I played soccer with Fred Bolitnikoff Jr. The old man was always there. Now, for those of you who may not know, and I had to look it up myself, Fred Bolitnikoff Sr. was an NFL legend for the Oakland Raiders as well as a Hall of Famer. And then also, I was good friends with Vicki Davidson, Big Ben Davidson's daughter. Now, Ben Davidson was another football star and later a Hollywood actor. He appeared on such shows as MASH, the movie Conan the Barbarian, and of course, my personal favorite, season 1 episode of Chips. Hey, if you've not watched Chips, you're truly missing out. I've got the first season on DVD. I'll share it with you. He says, my buddy was chasing her, meaning Vicki Davidson. She was 6'2", new wave, athletic, very cute, with a dad that could crush your skull. Thanks for sharing, Chuck. Again, just another great example from Chuck. All right. Our final story comes from me, and that is there is nothing in the world involving donuts that I enjoy more than actually getting to share time with my daughters and having and sharing donuts. This is something we've done ever since they were extremely little. One of my all-time favorite memories is a recent trip to, well, I say recent, a trip to Cincinnati. Time flies. It wasn't all that recent. But in preparation for that trip, I would get up and go run every morning around the beautiful neighborhoods of Cincinnati, get the girls up, and then we would go to various donut places each day. So day one, it might be donut location A. Day two, it was donut location B. And what we did was I actually created an evaluation form. and we rated and ranked all the donut places in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I got to tell you, I had the most fun with that. The girls kind of roll their eyes at me now about it, but I think they had fun too. I do still have that donut form, and it may be something I offer here in the near future as a premium for those who are subscribed to the channel. But it was just so much fun, and I have such vivid memories of us just having fun bonding over trying to find the best donut place in Cincinnati, which, by the way, I believe we absolutely did. And if you can see in the following set of picks that are coming up right after this, you may pick up on that as well. But the very first pick that is featured is going to be of my youngest, Kira, filling out her donut evaluation form. Here you go. All right, that's going to do it for this bonus episode of Donut DOC. I hope you liked this episode. And if you did, please hit like. Also, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And please be sure to share not only this episode, but the channel with a friend. Also, if you would like to send me more donut stories, please, by all means do. I would love to periodically feature your stories in episodes. To do that, all you have to do is send me an email and send it to donut, that's DONUT, DOC24@gmail.com. Again, would love to feature your stories in future episodes. That being said, do me a favor. Let's make life better. Let's invite a friend. Let's grab a donut. We'll see you real soon.